We really need to commission someone to make a song. So we can just play it while we're warming up. But we're warming up.
It may still get flagged because music is funny that way. We just got back from the grocery.
It's sad to do groceries in the evening.
Yeah, but it's stressful to do groceries in the day, so there's no winning. I don't know.
But yeah, we are warming up for another episode.
Because of Mitch. I don't know.
Ah! But yeah, we are warming.
Recursive loop.
Glasses of glare. Hey, Andre. Warming up like noodle soup. That sounds more suggestive than expected. Not because hindi ako atanista.
No, I don't. No, that doesn't make sense.
No, I was talking about my shirt.
It still didn't connect.
Because it wasn't supposed to. It was just a statement of what I'm wearing.
Then why did you say it right after the other statement? You just want to string sentences together at random?
Because hindi ako atanista.
Okay, shared. Yes, it's another food topic because of Mitch. Mitch is to blame for all
Karen,
these things.
hey, Mitch. Mad Libs. Mad Libs is that you fill in the lines, right? How did Mad Libs start?
Isn't it magnets?
I don't know. Was that the original term for it?
No, I mean, like, aren't they phrases on a little...
I only know them as a written thing. I didn't know they were magnets.
I don't know. I've seen a version of it.
Yeah, I know them as books. Then you fill them up. But I guess there's the magnet thing because of the Instagram. Well, not really the Instagram thing, but the those nice shops with the handmade paper and the fountain pen quills.
Quills.
Shut me up. Shut me up. No one likes Mad Libs. That is how it died.
But the website's very much active.
No, it's still alive. It's still very much active. We're just not the target market anymore. Karen mentioned another food topic. Yes, because Mitch has sent us.
I already responded to this.
How many food topics?
I don't know. A lot. Like I said, Mitch now accounts for like 60% of the topics, I think, in the queue. That's not counting, like, I mean, though we have our own topics sort of like that we throw in from time to time. But yeah, Mitch is a lot of the topics in the queue.
Andre says we should kill it. I don't know. Mad Libs probably makes more money than all of us. So I don't think we have the influence nor the capacity to kill it. Start in a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. What do you think? It's 9:37.
I guess we can start just like work bids. Okay, I don't want to look at work. Okay.
Yep, 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 yep. This is making me miss
Japchae. The Korean and the thing on the side. The irony about these things is that I can't eat noodles really, so
we will try.
This is all in retrospect. All the more stressed by, like, it was so difficult to have dinner today. So eating out is like only has very limited excitement for me,
Mhm.
and yeah, we'll get into it. So I guess we could start.
All right, let's start. This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us as we talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. This episode is an episode again about food because it seems to be quite popular with our friends.
It's a more relatable topic, and then you complain that we're making you hungry this late at night. So if you don't want to be hungry this late at night, I guess your options are either not watch the show or suggest non-food topics.
But of course, we would rather you continue to watch the show.
Yes.
So
and suggest food topics. So.
Our topic tonight is all about noodles, and not the brain, but the type you eat. What?
What do you mean not the brain?
Because noodle is sometimes used to refer to the brain. You know, when your noodle is like coming up with all these ideas.
Mm. Okay.
It's a LaSalle thing.
No, it's not. Was it wrong to wear these shirts? You're like, you get extra LaSalle in this moment.
No, I don't really know how we'll approach this topic. I wasn't prepared for this topic.
You're the one who said we might as well do noodles.
Yeah, but you know, it's not like I'm the person who knows the difference between noodles, which is the first thing I can state about this. I did not realize that there were so many different types of noodles. For the longest time, I actually thought spaghetti was just as a whole spaghetti, and I didn't realize it's because of the noodle compared to everything else.
Okay.
And stuff like that. I wasn't even clear. Actually, I'm still not clear between the distinction of noodles and pasta. When does one become a noodle and when is one pasta?
Isn't pasta the whole dish and then a noodle is just
I'm
a
not
part
sure.
of the dish?
Because then pasta has the non-noodle stuff like lasagna. And, you know, the dim sumi pasta, the ones that have the stuff inside.
Oh, okay. This article from Canada says noodles and pasta differ primarily because of ingredients and the type of processing involved. Noodles are made from flour milled from common wheat. Pasta is from durum semolina. Something.
Which I was thinking was a regional thing. That, you know, and as much as you'll have the Korean glass noodles and the Japanese, let's say ramen noodles and the like, they're different from pasta because of regional and ingredient differences.
They say the real identifying factor with pasta is what extent the al dente texture holds up in cooking and how well sauce adheres to it. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So,
so Karen shares Philippine noodles that she knows is bihon, canton, and sotangkon, which I think.
But are these all actually Chinese?
Yes, I was about to say.
Noodles.
Or are they Chinese noodles? But these are names for them because in Chinese noodles they have a different name.
No, because bihon,
It's
like in
Chinese.
Singaporean, right? It's bihun, or
Bihun,
you know, right?
yeah.
I mean, like the phonetics are the same. So I'm assuming it's at most Filipinized.
And then sotanghon is the closest thing to what we also call angel hair pasta, but it's still different.
Yeah,
because it's still more glass
and
noodles.
it's rice derived.
Mm-mm.
And it sort of shares that quality that Shirataki has, where its sauce doesn't adhere
Repels it.
that well, you know.
Yeah, and then you have, of course, the traitors, the elbow noodles and the shell and the which are more pasta now than noodles.
Yeah.
So I get confused because I think everything you put the tomato sauce, it's spaghetti. But then I realized not all pasta has spaghetti.
When did this realization happen?
Around high school.
Okay, so it's not like a super recent thing.
It's a continuing.
Majority of your life is still living with the knowledge that there's more than one kind of pasta.
Yes, but the distinctions have always confused me.
Okay, and then you just leave it out there and like that your confusion remains as is. You don't try to resolve it. When you have these questions and you have so many of them, don't you try to find the answers?
In the right venue, I guess.
Define right venue. We have the internet. We've had it since the late 90s.
Well, it's not like I'm just answering my questions the entire time in my life. There are other stuff I do.
You make it sound like you have too many questions for you to answer yourself. Yeah, Karen, there is a keto-friendly noodle which is called Shirataki. We'll talk about that, I guess, at some point tonight. So, I don't know. I think I used to appreciate pasta when we started cooking food on our own, and it became like the easiest. Like, what's this? It was an easy fallback. Like once you figured out sort of your base sauces, then it's easy to like just cook something quick. And then like I had the different variations of, um, you know, I can make a cream sauce, and whether I put ground meat into it, mushrooms or tuna, then I kind of like played around in a certain range. Or if I would do a more oil-based sauce, then I kind of had a plan for what I would do, and then it would work off whatever pasta you would cook with, and that's sort of like you just roll with that. Funnily, I've never really made a lot of soups with noodles, right? It's not something I'd normally do, and I think it's because sotong hong sometimes is a pain, and so I never really bothered. And then I went keto, and then like all of those cooking staples went out the window. You really don't know what to contribute to this topic.
Okay. By recently I mean during our time together was when I learned to cook pasta. Remember? Prior to that, I did not.
To be fair, it's
Prior to that, I did not
cook.
So yeah, I really do have a smaller range of experiences that I can really define.
But we can talk about what you like to eat.
Yeah.
You're just gonna say they're all pasta.
No, because
like, okay, before we met, what would you order if you were going to order a pasta dish? Is it always going to be spaghetti?
Well, a majority of the time I do just finish whatever food people have ordered.
Okay.
So let's not forget that.
Yes.
So I pretty much literally was happy to just eat whatever was available. In terms of dishes that have noodles, sotanghon was a staple when we'd have the sick days, of course, and that was the one with the meatballs and it wasn't cucumber. What was that thing in it?
It isn't it sayote. Oh no, upo.
Yeah. It always make me think of cucumber because of the seeds, right? It has the similar white seeds. So I remember I used to always have that when we have the sick days. When you're not feeling well, sotanghon. Ramen was actually not that big a thing for me until much later. At most college, we were doing the instant noodle stuff, but not really going to restaurants for ramen. In fact, I only got more adventurous with ramen and like with you, because that's when we started to visit different places that had ramen, and I was like, oh my god, there are different ways that they prepared it.
Okay, that's also why. So you're so gushy over her. No?
Yes, because I didn't exactly have the opportunity to understand food beyond just it's good food and let's eat it. I mean, even if let's say Japanese food, I like Japanese food. I still can't name them all. As far as I know, I like that one because I remember what it looks like and stuff like that.
Why? Okay. Why am I only realizing this now?
Because normally I don't really order. I mean, I order after people order, right? I'm not the person who orders first. And it's not a bad thing. It's just that, I'm game to try anything. But at the same time, I'm really bad with naming things.
Who are you? And how did we get through so many dates together? Like, well, I don't want to call it, but eating out together.
Because admittedly, when we used to go out, it was the dessert places I'd bring you.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, because that's where I knew what I wanted. But when it came to food, I'm game to try anything. What?
Hey, Pico is on YouTube. Andre is lurking. He was sad because no one else was chatting. Um,
Toby is adventurous with food. In many ways, Karen, it was more
ignorant.
it was more a necessity, and yes, partly ignorance as well. Although ignorance does kind of have a negative connotation sometimes. Um, when you are the middle child, and you have your older brother and you have the only girl who's the youngest, they tend to be the ones who call the shots on what they like to eat. So I kind of learned real quick now, they're all good anyway, so I'm not going to complain. And then it always led to like when it's my birthday, they'd be like, "Oh, Toby, where do you want to eat?" I just mentioned the stuff they mentioned because at least I knew they'd enjoy it too. Because I was always afraid I'll order something and then people won't like it. So yeah.
So you guys don't really like order for yourselves, like individually? It's always like,
well, mom always pushes that, get what you want. I'm gonna get it. But I guess in the early years, I kind of got used to just eating whatever's left on the table because I do eat a lot, admittedly. People are done eating and I'm still packing food.
You also eat slow.
Yeah, also.
Slower than me.
Because I also, I get worried when it gets caught in my throat. So.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. Okay, and then, so
noodle-wise, yeah. Ramen was, I was fascinated with ramen because it was interesting how they really came up with different ways for it to be presented.
Oh my
and
god,
served.
we used to have so many ramen dates. It was like, ramen nagi was later on pa nga eh. It was Rai Rai Ken at Ali Mall. There was another ramen place we discovered near the massage spa.
Yes, in QC.
Yeah, I can't remember now the name, but that was good too.
And it was one of those places wherein we went, we were looking for a massage. Our usual place wasn't available. And then, ramen place, let's try there. And then, wait, there's a massage place nearby.
So, I think the massage was upstairs and then the ramen was downstairs.
So we were like, okay, let's do it. But then we regretted it a bit because we were like, oh my god,
so bloated.
And those were huge bowls.
Yeah, it was very big portions. And, that became like the biggest emphasis of things have changed since my years on keto. Is that when we went to ramen nagi because of Toby's brother was in town, and then I figured, sige, I'll break keto today. Let's have a treat. And then it was my favorite ramen nagi seasonal thing, which was the crab, the crab ramen thing. So excited.
King crab, I think, was the name of the dish.
And so, at that point, I had been on keto for over a year. And when I finally ate, it's like,
it's all just starch.
Ramen is all just a bunch of noodles. It's just, you think there's a lot of flavor, but there's not.
Well, there's a lot of flavor from the concentrated flavors, which the noodles tries to disperse.
But it's not in the noodles itself. And it's like it's just super carbs in the middle of everything. And it just ruined ramen for me.
Because I guess in many ways, noodles are like, the sandwich of the bowl industry. Because like noodles are the ones
Wait. Let's say that again. Noodles are the sandwich of the bowl industry.
Because the noodles are like where the flavor will attach so you can eat it. So it's like the bread. They're also starchy.
Toby is one of a kind. I am lucky to have Toby in my life. Question mark. Clearly, it's like noodles are the sandwich. I don't know why you said sandwich. I guess it would have been slightly better if you said bread, because then it's like the sandwich of the bowl industry. It's like, how? What? I know you wanted to go for a bread bowl comparison. Is that the goal? Then why did the sandwich join the party?
Well, maybe that's why bread bowls don't have noodles.
Because carbs on carbs.
Yes.
Doesn't stop it. So earlier, Mitch was like trying to ask things like, do we have a favorite? Were you more red sauce or white sauce or I guess oil? Did you have a leaning preference? Growing up, I used to love white sauces because
Mhm.
then I'd always order the quote unquote carbonara,
Mhm.
and then it wasn't until we played that Facebook kitchen game
Mhm.
that holy crap, carbonara is really just supposed to be
Egg.
eggs.
Yes.
It's just eggs.
And the cream version is a lie.
It's an Alfredo. So I think that's why to this day, when I make my like stir fry veggies that are very keto, I like to mix in eggs at the
Mhm.
end, so it has that kind of carbonara feel. I turn the veggies into my noodle alternative. So, but that's a thing. So sauce, Toby.
Generally red sauce when I was younger, only because that was the staple. Um, I like the black sauce, the squid ink.
Squid ink.
But it was always such a mess.
Do you like it for the flavor, or do you just like your mouth turning black after?
Both? Because I like that it's yummy, then afterwards I get to be a zombie.
See, I understand this Toby logic. You know, this is how Toby makes food decisions.
And then the white sauce, um, I didn't like the white sauce pasta before because I always felt they were cheating.
Cheating because,
There's not enough sauce. Why is it white? Where's everything else in it? What's
to
wrong
be
with
fair,
this?
I feel like a lot of white sauces
It's kind of watered down, right?
or tend to be blander
Mhm.
for some reason.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's something wrong with the seasoning. Because when I would make white sauces, you'd be like, wow, because like I throw in a bouillon, into that thing, and then I super season it with a lot of dried herbs.
And then pesto was something I was fascinated with when I was young. And then there was one time I tried to cook it,
Oh wow, brave.
and I freaked out when I read it was like it's just leaves and nuts.
Pine nuts, yeah.
So I made the mistake of using basil seasoning and not leaves
And peanuts?
and peanuts. And then I was eating it. I'm like, this doesn't taste like it. But that was the early days when the internet still required a bulletin board system.
Well, that was an experiment.
Yes.
And then yeah, so like I would gravitate towards white sauces growing up, but then I'd be disappointed when they're more often than not bland.
Mhm.
And I think it was only like in my more adult years that like I really learned to appreciate this just the olive oil based pastas, and then like because the flavors tend to be very potent, and then you get a lot of noodle.
Yeah.
In hindsight now, post keto, and then it's like, oh, but then it's just carbs. And then
Mhm.
you're not really getting much else.
Yeah, the oil pastas were the ones I was happy to learn, and that was, if I remember correctly, both through Grace and Mon,
Yeah.
who were both, kaya mo lutuin, madali lang yan. So that was a dish that I was very proud of doing for a time, even if there were times I burned the garlic. Um, yeah, I miss doing that back at. There was a time I could even cook it at work and I'd like feed the entire office. So that was a nice time.
And it's not, it's not something you have to entirely give up on. I mean, it's just that it's not as fun for me.
Well, we work from home, so that's not gonna happen
Yeah.
anytime soon. I don't want to move the food out
No,
there.
I mean not that. Just cooking the dish, not
Ah.
feeding your office.
Yeah, but it's always hard to try to cook something just for myself. I mean, it feels like now we'll have to cook two things just to feed us, and two, um, we aren't really at the point where we cook to excess to store for the next meal. Because that's something that we can start planning to do, but we aren't really there yet. We sort of are with the chicken, and the soups
I always
tend to
cook a
have
lot.
Yeah, but in terms of like when I prepare, it's almost always I prepare for that meal, and
Yeah.
I haven't really gotten to the point of cooking more because on the times I tried to increase volume, it doesn't get cooked right, or I overcook it. And I don't want to change anymore what I do.
And I kind of miss our pizza nights. I mean, like when we go to Esbaro and then we'd have a big slice each, and then we would share a ziti.
Yes,
As controversial as
those are
that
nice.
ziti could be, but I miss that ziti.
Mhm.
So red sauce again. But yeah, and then it's funny because in growing up, I mean, I think we mentioned Mamun Look before on the show, but then like it's something that We used to have a lot more often when I was a kid,
Mm.
and I super enjoyed that. But then now it's like, then I worry that same thing, that mommy's really just a broth with a lot of noodles, and then like, oh, it's not as fun. I mean, for context, it's not just because I shun carbs now, but it's more when you go keto, your palate changes. You get used to a much lower level of carbs,
Mhm.
and then you realize, that
Things are sweet.
things are sweet, things are just carby.
I mean, I'm not on keto, but given our food generally is keto,
well, it's lower carb
yeah,
than what you
and
used to eat.
then I kind of noticed how much more sweet things are. So like, I still have ice cream, but whereas I could finish a pint in one sitting before, now, if I get more than two scoops, it actually feels too much because I
Mm.
can taste how much sugar it has. So
And then like when like we ate at the food court, and then my dish came with rice, so that goes to Toby. Then you end up like getting every now and then these like
mountains of carbs.
mountains of carbs in a
Yeah.
day, and then I can't imagine it's fun. Mitch is like ramen versus mommy. Which you prefer more? I think ramen definitely. Ramen's a lot more flavor, more interesting from a flavor perspective. But it may be like an unfair advantage because a lot of mommies are really just single ingredient. I mean, like it's chicken, it's beef, it's pork, but like that's about it, right? And then there's not much else going on.
And I think for me at least, my exposure to mommy was mostly post drinking. When you eat at Buddha and the like, because you need to sober up. So
Just Buddha?
no,
Mommy?
not Buddha. Sorry. What was the name of the place? Wait, was it Buddha? No, it was near the entrance of Parañaque. There's a place there. I forgot. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name. I think it was beside Buddha. Kasi yun yung Buddha na hold up. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of the mommy experiences were more. You had no choice, but it's open, so you'll eat there.
But then I think over time, instant noodles kind of ruined mommy in the sense that, I mean, oh my god, growing up, I used to have so much Lucky Me, not just instant, not just the pancit canton, but then I would have the chicken mommy a lot, and then that always went well. But yeah, it had nothing. It was just chicken broth and noodles. So, yeah, ramen is definitely more interesting. Karen's like udon, soba, or ramen. Okay, I am definitely a ramen person, which is why I can't understand the time when we used to go, when everybody was like going crazy over, was that marogame udon? So udon is the fatter noodles. So not a big fan.
Yeah, I never understood those as well. Kasi parang binubusog mo sarili mo with the least flavorful thing.
Yeah, and then the thickness of udon like resists the soup more, so you don't taste it
But I
through.
guess it's a texture thing.
Yeah. But then like when we would ramen nagi, we're also the type that I like the firmest noodles. Firm and thin. I don't like them big and soggy.
And then I never understood cold noodles. I know you enjoyed that for a while.
Yeah, it was interesting. At the now closed Mentokoro. Ano Mentokoro? Was this Musashi Te? Sorry, I keep mixing the two. They're right next to each other. But yeah, and it was a weird experience, but I kind of liked it. But again, it was like a noodle delivery system.
You grab the noodles,
you dip it into the sauce. It's all cold. And like, okay, I can work with this. I mean, it's not something I particularly like, but I appreciated it. And now I don't. So, yeah. What else? Do you prefer them as a pasta with a sauce, or do you like your noodles more in soups? Like ramen?
That's a good question. I think I prefer them more in a sauce because the flavor clings on better.
I think so too. And then was this? I've always been a stickler for like I want my pasta when I could order pasta, but that the sauce is served on top and not mixed in.
Yeah,
let me do the mixing. Yeah, let me mix in the flavors. It always felt weird when like it's pre-mixed. Then it's like very children's party spaghetti.
Then the flavors kind of, what's the word? Absorbed na.
And it makes it soggier. Then
Yeah.
again, it's chasing that al dente, I guess, experience.
which I feel was why I didn't like soups, because the soups, the noodles pretty much were already, and as much as they were supposed to be firm, since they've been in the soup for quite some time, they feel soggy already. It's not chewy.
It depends though. Like it depends on the restaurant. So like
Yes.
I'll admit Ramen Nagi, they got that down pat. Like
Mhm.
clearly they put the noodles in like last.
It was
And
part,
then-
it was part of the serving process. But in other places, like in most carinderias and turoturos,
Yeah.
everything's cooked in one pot from the start of the day. So by the time you get it, diba, woohoo.
The achuete spaghetti. Amber spaghetti. Yeah, that definitely has that part, the classic children's party
Mhm.
spaghetti, which is an experience in itself, and I do miss it to some degree, but I'm okay.
And then there was that actual shift, right, of Philippine spaghetti to that Pinoy flavor. I mean, there was a time there was just spaghetti. And then places like Jollibee started to make their own versions, which was slightly sweeter. To the point that it became a brand, and now they call it Pinoy spaghetti to
Mm.
differentiate it from.
I don't know. And then like, cause my grandma also used to make a great birthday spaghetti,
Mhm.
and it clearly had sugar and it clearly had banana ketchup,
Mhm.
mixed in, and but it worked, and I don't know why that was the thing. And her spaghetti still wasn't as sweet as Jollibee, but yeah, I know the first time I ate Jollibee spaghetti, it's like, whoa, what is this? It's like it's strange.
It's kiddie.
I still like among the fast food spaghettis, I like the Wendy's spaghettis. It still had that closer to Italian bolognese
Mhm.
feel that the others didn't. Because McDonald's also went sweet and had to compete in that kiddie market, things like that. Um, yeah. So weird. Yeah. Then and same thing. Like, yeah, I think pasta has always been like the more, I don't know. I think there's a lot more versatility in the way you can eat it. And that it works out.
Karen mentioned North Park's crispy noodles.
Oh, that's always. I feel like that's a fun experience. Just
and
the
those
serving.
were those different from the birthday noodles, or those were the same?
No, I think the birthday noodle is different.
Because they had a birthday noodle thing that they also you
That
can
they
also
kept
order.
that you kept hearing the ad for every time you called the North
Mhm.
Park delivery hotline.
Yeah.
Wow, when was the last time we used to order North Park with FGTC? But then
Yes.
it just got harder and
Frustrating.
harder for me as I went on keto.
And it also got frustrating because whenever we'd order from them, there's always an issue with something,
Yeah.
or something will be missing when it shows up.
We're late.
But the crispy noodles were fun. I remember enjoying those. That was an experience. There's even those noodles that served as a fast food snack.
Oh yeah.
When-
Oh my God. Wait. In Singapore,
Mhm.
there's a snack, and it's made by Mami, which is like also an instant Mami brand.
Mhm.
It was literally dried noodles, and then it came with a powder sachet
That you
of
shake
like
over it.
of like chicken powder, and then you would sprinkle it over and eat it
Mhm.
like a thing. I tried it once, and I really felt like, oh my God, I think we're just eating instant noodles
Raw.
without yeah, we just didn't
Without
cook it.
rehydrating it.
It was like the powder was super strong. I mean, it was like MSG to the gods, and then I was amused by it, as many Asian things are amusing, but it wasn't for me.
And I
this
don't
was
think it
already
lasted.
this was no, it's still alive.
It's still alive.
It's a very big thing in Singapore and probably Malaysia. So it's weird. Pancake house spaghetti. Oh my God, yes. Super grew up with the joys of pancake house spaghetti.
We missed Tantan Men ramen. Mitch mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Manam Pansit Palabok. I'm not okay.
We're not Nanam people.
We're not the biggest Manam fans. It's like it's okay, but then I feel like value for money is very skewed. It's pricier than I'd like. And then I went keto, so all the more like a lot of it I can't really eat. Like I can eat the sisig, sorta. I distrust the sauce, the weird white sauce. It's probably somewhat creamy. So yeah, Manam is not. I kept thinking about it earlier when we were at Aura, and like I guess we could eat at Manam, but then I just pay a lot of money and be disappointed.
Well, the food has that. Parang the flavors are all MSG enhanced. I mean, it's like really strong flavors. And I guess people like that. I find it.
Well, it doesn't help we're not having rice. So
Yeah,
then there's
exactly.
nothing to fight the flavoring. Then it's like, and then me, it always goes back to price versus enough. So if people follow my like Instagram, you'll notice we order from Sariwan Korean Grill like once a week at least, sometimes more, because our bill is always under 900 bucks. So whenever I think about eating anywhere else, then I think, are we gonna spend more than 1,000 bucks and then be less satisfied?
Mm-mm. It's an honest.
Then it kind of goes back to that.
And mind you, busog kami sa sariwan.
And we're very full with
Yeah.
sariwan. And I just supplement with additional garlic and additional lettuce because we're eating at home and not at the restaurant.
Eric asks, as a keto option, can you have cucumber noodles?
Yes. So let's talk about the weird keto noodle options. So the first and most expensive is shirataki. So shirataki noodles are like gelatin. They are amazingly zero carb. They are pretty much water in a cellulose form of some sort.
But not as yummy as jellyfish.
Definitely not as yummy as jellyfish. They cost. They're very very expensive. The small packet, I feel like I'm buying like a quarter. I'm buying three, 2 to 3 times of like if it were regular instant spaghetti, and then the sauce does not cling because of the cellulose whatever gelatin texture. So it doesn't. It's not even like bihon, because even bihon and stuff absorb. This does not. So it totally resists the sauce. Then you're just kind of juggling the two. So you really eat it because you miss the feel of noodles, and you want to feel fuller, but it's a lie. So I still get shirataki from time to time just for that. Like, do I really miss the sensation of pasta? But it's quite an investment. Or I just keep it on hand. Like if Toby wants to make his anchovy pasta, then I can join him, and he can use the same base oil sauce, and then
we'll prepare.
We'll put it on mine. It's just that I have to like super mix, hoping that more of the oil clings, but it does not. Cucumber noodles are a thing. They're a lot more. It's just difficult to make. Like I don't have a melon baller or a pasta. There are like machines that help make it easier to make noodles out of it. It obviously doesn't have the resilience of an actual pasta noodle, so it actually runs the risk of disintegrating quicker if you leave it in the sauce too long. I have used cucumber as a cracker alternative for pate and for different spreads. It's just it's not as fun. It's okay, but there's no lying that I'm eating a cucumber. Some people have like made a very thin scrambled egg, and then you cut it into strips.
Yeah.
So it's like a noodle, like some derivative of cloud bread. Again, it's really more just you miss the feeling of having a noodle. It probably has better absorptive properties than some of the other alternatives,
but it also has its own flavor.
It's also egg. It's like there's no lying. It's an egg. So this is like my landscape for noodles, and it never feels the same. Actually, I think I get more of a kick out of enoki mushrooms, the long ones. So I can add those to soup, and it feels like a noodle because I mean it can be quite firm, but it has very limited like absorption properties because it's protein in itself. It's just fun. So yeah, this is why like. Keto official keto alternatives always feel like it's super high priced and you're really just going after an aspect of the original dish, which is probably the texture and the experience, but not fully the flavor and the way that it fully behaves in the normal way when you have carbs. So yeah, so it's the ironic before where I would probably cook pasta twice a week at least, or at least I cook a big batch once and then make more noodles later in the week. to not touching at all,
Hey,
my
Jen.
life has changed a lot.
Mhm.
It's that's keto for you. ah, but Toby can still have some. Jed saw noodles and I was talking about keto. Sorry, you came at a weird time, Jed.
Yeah, Jed, you missed our initial foray into the different types of noodles. For
For keto
four.
noodles, what sauce goes well with it? None. No sauces go well.
So far,
Shirataki resists
Mhm.
sauce.
although
So
we haven't really tried the cream sauce with it.
I
yet.
did.
Oh, you
I've
did?
done it a few times. I've done
Okay.
cream sauces and no. It's like I mean, if you like your sauce, before, you will still like it now because it doesn't add anything
Mm-mm.
to that experience. But from a pasta, like you want that pasta experience where the sauce mixing with the noodles and you get them together. No.
Mhm.
And because shiratake in itself is like this taste of absence in the middle of eating, like pasta sauce, and then there's a blank part in your tongue. That's the noodle. That's the shirataki noodle. And it's like, and I, and it's just, yeah, you just go with it. You just, it's your life when you give up carbs. So, uh, I sometimes miss it. I sometimes miss it. Do you wish we had pasta more?
It's okay. Not particularly. I wouldn't be against it, but I'm not particularly missing it.
I do miss. Okay, I think I miss ramen more because it was something we could do together. It was like a place to go
Mm.
when we eat out.
And
Because
it
now
is,
it's
and it
like
is
that.
fun experimenting with the new flavors.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
mean-
like we tried almost every ramen nagi.
And there were the weird ones from Wrong Ramen.
oh, wrong ramen.
Yeah.
Are they? They're dead. They're
Wrong
dead.
Ramen
Yeah.
had really
Creative stuff.
strange
Yeah.
directions. I mean, like there was the seaman, which was okay. It wasn't
That wasn't
bad.
great. I'd
But
rather
it
get
wasn't-
I'd rather get a rai rai ken tan tan gan,
Mm-mm.
you know, or
Mm-mm.
they had like a they had the rai rai ken had one that was like almost like a pancit. It was like pancit ingredients
Mm-mm.
as a ramen.
Mm-mm.
I like that. And then Mitch brings up pho, which I super love pho.
Yeah, that we miss.
I super love pho, and yeah, I've been worried about eating it again if I decide to break keto for a day, because then I know that one's really gonna be just all noodles. I mean, like I'm going to be overwhelmed by the carbiness of it, and it's sad. But I would love I introduced you to pho.
Yeah.
And we would have a lot of those dates too. And then before for SM Aura, we would definitely always eat at Ramanagi before doing anything else. That was
Mhm.
like our main place to eat. And then now today, it was a struggle to figure out where to have dinner. The safest place for me to eat now is the weird United Steak stand
Mhm.
attached to the supermarket. That's like the easiest, most affordable place for me to eat at SM Aura now. We tried Sizzling Plate, but then forgot to tell them to hold the gravy, and I distrust the gravy because it probably has cornstarch. Um, the Poke Bowl stand at the food court is gone, so that's another lost option. There used to be was this there was a Tori place.
Mm.
There was a Tori stand also, which we could get certain things without the sauce, and it could be passable keto
in the food court.
in the food court.
Yeah.
That's gone too. And then yeah, so we tried the shabu shabu place. I can sort of eat there, but then I give Toby all my noodles. So then
So
it's
that's
like
all the udon,
and the bihon.
almost all the fish cake,
Yeah.
all the corn.
So it's like I punish Toby with like all my carbs. Then it's a weird experience. And then we could order some things from Todd English, but so
I
expensive.
thought English never felt.
Yeah, it
worth
didn't
the
feel
money.
worth it. Didn't
Yeah.
feel worth it.
Same with what is that other place? Sunrise, that breakfast place.
I
on
never
High
ate
Street.
at Sunny's.
Did we go there once?
No, because every time I stare at the menu, I'm like, hell no.
It was a family thing.
Then it was you.
Yeah, and then I was like, didn't appreciate that. You know what? Okay, there is a noodle dish that I miss.
Okay, what?
Yellow cab.
Oh, the yellow cab
Charlie Chan.
pastas. Yeah, I remember when you were trying to recreate Charlie Chan
Yes.
based on
And
recipes
that,
on the
that was
internet.
hard. I thought I was close, but then when you're eating it, no, it's still not. But that one I miss.
Yeah, yellow cab. I'll admit, yellow cabs. All of yellow cab's pastas felt pretty solid. Even their Alfredo chicken one. That was good stuff.
And it actually felt worth the money.
Because they're expensive
Yeah.
pastas, but
Because there are some
super worth
places
it.
where you pay for the pasta and then you're eating it. I can make this at home. Why
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That always became my thing. That I always felt like I could cook our own spaghetti and stuff.
That Italian authentic Italian restaurant near High Street.
Near High Street or the one in Cubao?
No. So you have High Street, but it's there to the left of it, near the hotel where your sister was staying.
We didn't eat there. Maybe you did.
Oh, that was Office. That was Office. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was Office. Yeah. That was an Office lunch thing when we were out of.
Oh, sukiyaki. I remember enjoying sukiyaki
Yeah, that's
mostly.
good.
Mostly in the early Saisaki days. Like remember that like when everybody would go to Saisaki because there was Angus beef in the teppanyaki and Angus beef in the sukiyaki.
Mhm.
And sukiyaki was great.
But wasn't that also the one we liked in the buffet place in Aura? But it was so hard to scoop out the soup.
Okay. One moment.
That was a different.
That was Sari one.
no,
Because
not
we
Sari
would
one.
we would order the beef bulgogi, which is served in the pan in the middle, and we would have a hard time scraping out
You're
the
right.
potato
That's
noodle.
Sari one.
Because the only buffet
That's
place
Sari
we've
one.
eaten in Aura is the Japanese place.
Yeah, but then the Japanese place have a soup thing also. Man.
we've never ordered
They-
a
they-
noodle-based soup.
They cook the fat first.
That was no, that was a sukiyaki also. Okay, yes.
See?
Before we did the buffet.
See, yeah, but I remember we ordered that, and that was pretty good. That wasn't bad. But then we discovered at the buffet, and buffet na lang.
Yeah, so that Eric was sharing that he used to do sukiyaki more. See, so yeah, just get on keto. You will solve that problem. Then you'll not have any of it. Mitch is offering to send over Charlie Chan pasta. Feel free to do for Toby, but don't send a lot because yes, Ogetsuhime is the one in Aura.
Yeah, and it's annoying because it has the weird R's.
It's not weird. It's very traditional restaurant that it's open for lunch and it's open for dinner. It's just that our eating window begins at 2 when the lunch service is closing. So if we want to eat there, we have to go for dinner. But then it's expensive. But it's a decent buffet that we can eat at because then I can just choose things that I can eat.
Sashimi and teppanyaki.
It's mostly just sashimi and
But we
teppanyaki
do also
and the
get
salmon head.
Yes,
Yeah,
the salmon head, which was an experiment at first. I was like, you want to try this?
Yeah, because what else can I order, right?
And we were like, how big will this be? And then when it arrived, oh my god.
It started with because I wanted like a sushi experience, but since I'm on keto, I can't have maki. Then we can't even do like genki sushi because most of it's maki and sushi and very little sashimi. So we wanted to find a buffet that was nearby.
Yes.
So we ended up with Ogetsu Hime. And as much as it's a little pricey, which like any buffet is, but I think because of the fact that what we eat is only just the teppanyaki steak, lots of sashimi, some miso, the salmon head, and edamame, we totally get our money's worth because we don't eat rice. We have nothing with noodles in it. We have no tempura. Nothing that would like.
We tried a few of the tori stuff, the mushroom and but they still have the sweet.
Yeah, it's very tricky. And then I'm never sure about the bacon.
Yeah.
So now we just focus on the other stuff. So it's like it really depends on how you eat, like any buffet. So, and it's a sit down buffet, so it's like weird that you just keep ordering. But I miss that. I miss. We're totally off base for the noodle topic, but I miss the. Oh my god, what was that? Sakai sushi. When I miss the joy of carousel sushi places. Can't do that anymore. So okay. Well, Pika said he had a bad experience, but may have been his fault. I mean, like it's what's not great, I feel, is that they don't orient you well as to what's going on.
Yeah, they kind of expect you to just do the work.
They just give you the menu and then,
And
like,
then-
figure it out.
And then they don't also. There's no relationship.
Yeah,
They're just there
yeah.
to take your order and they're gone.
Yeah, the service crew,
Mm.
I don't know, it never feels very personable. And then, I mean, like, they feel like very unhappy, like, because it's a buffet service. Then it's like, I guess to be fair, buffets are a lot of work,
Yeah.
so I can understand that it's life draining. But then, like, compared to places like, what's the other popular
Vikings and the like.
No.
Those start.
Vikings, and what's the other one that was like Korean, the buffet with the grill.
The one near
Yeah,
the office.
the Midla High Street. Yeah, I can't remember the name.
The one with the gaudy discotheque neon colors at night.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like those, I felt like the staff there were like a lot nicer, and
Mhm.
that I felt was a more hectic buffet to manage
Mhm.
versus Ugetsu Hibe.
Color.
You can try sukiyaki as a stew, sans the noodle. Yeah, then it's just like eating a beef soup, which is not bad, but then it's like, yeah, it's okay.
Mid shares. Remembered laksa.
Yeah, my dad's super into laksa. I'm okay. Like, I never super got into
K-pop.
laksa.
There you go, Karen.
No, not that one. Sambokojin. Ethan, thank you.
Ah,
Sambokojin. Remember that, and it was always such a challenge to go to Sambokojin because the
Mhm.
queue was always terrible.
yes.
But then,
yes.
like, but I love the staff because they always seemed like super up and up. Even if,
Mhm.
like, even it was like, it's always funny when you go to a restaurant and you have to cook your own food. So it's like, okay, it's an experience. But yeah, not K-pop. I've never been to K-pop because of the live music element.
Yeah, I think
I never wanna
we
go.
peaked one time.
Yeah,
And
then it's
when
like,
we saw
there's
the-
a band,
Yeah,
and
we're
they're
like,
like,
no.
no, it's gonna be so tiring. I'm an old person. I don't want loud music all the time.
They might talk to us. They might ask us to sing.
Or they ask where you're from and what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, I'm okay. It's like, what's this? I'm 2+ years into keto, so I'm over it. I'm over it. You stop looking. That's why I'm not very keen on substitutes anymore. And then I just eat keto compliant. But I'm not as heavy more in my first year. I'd buy a lot of shirataki. I'd look for a lot of alternatives, and like I wanted to recreate these things. And even now, like, I'm too lazy to cauli rice, to do cauliflower rice or broccoli rice, because I'll just eat the vegetables.
I'll just
fine.
eat it as
I'll just eat
cauliflower.
it as is. The only main benefit from my cauli rice period was learning that I can eat the stalks
Mhm.
as long as I cook them well enough.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, like, it's okay. I appreciate the suggestions. It's just that I'm over it. But yeah, so I don't think I'm ever gonna go back, guys. I'm so sorry. That's like the one thing that I've been holding on to this for this whole episode. It's like, I really don't miss noodles, and I don't mind not having it. I miss pizza pa more than noodles,
Mhm.
and there are expensive keto alternatives for it, but noodles, no, I can live without it. I can totally live without it. I will miss it. I'll miss, like, the memory of certain dishes. But then, like, what happened when we ate ramen, I feel like my memory is better than the reality.
Mhm. Yeah.
The rose tinted whatever of food being nicer in your head. So I don't know, but yeah. Sorry, what a downer.
No, it's not.
I appreciate the role of pasta in life.
Mitch shares got inspiration for this show because of a K-drama, Love Struck in the
A lot
City.
of your food recommendations are because of K-dramas, I noticed.
There's a resto that cooks noodles around the world.
I remember, like, we watched a few of those. I don't know if they were K-dramas or J-dramas or whatever on Netflix about all these. I think a lot of them are Korean, and then all they do is eat. And then it was this girl who just wanted to eat, and I don't know. It's fascinating. So I get it. Food culture is very strong. Yeah, I don't know. So any last, like, dishes that came to mind that you kind of miss, or things, or I don't know. How do we wrap up talking about noodles? Noodle.
Well, yeah, I think I'm fine. I'm not really missing them as much as I thought I would. I think ultimately I still would miss desserts more than specific foods because as far as foods are concerned, I'm happy to just eat. Um, because again, veering away from noodles, even something I really used to love, tocino, I'm not looking for it anymore.
I'm so sorry.
Diba? Because when I still kept tocino,
Yeah,
I was finding them super sweet.
You're trying to cook tocino on your own, and then it was like you were just suffering through it.
Yeah, so wala. I know that shift. Um, it sorta has made desserts now more fun for me
That is the benefit.
because it sorta has made it. It's like when you have the pickled, before you eat sashimi. The flavors are now much
The
more.
pickled ginger.
Yeah, so that's what desserts are for me now. But the food that was normally sweet, like barbecue, tocino, I find them too sweet na. I don't find them a joy to eat anymore. But I still appreciate bread when it's bread.
Just bread.
Parang, so like, diba, I tried some of those bread talk type of things.
Oh,
And I
okay.
realized when the bread has more flavor in it, it becomes too sweet. But if it's like a sandwich, kaya ko pa. So I think that's where I stand. So when it comes to noodles, Charlie Chan, I think, is still okay because it really gets the flavor inside it.
It's very distinct.
But I've always also monitored how much Charlie Chan I have because I can't handle the spice too much.
Yeah.
So it's small doses, which is perfect for enjoying it.
Mitch asked, if there was one noodle dish that we could eat for a month, and assuming I'm not on keto, what would it be? I can't think. I don't know. What would a noodle dish that you would want to eat a lot of?
It's like just Charlie Chan.
Charlie Chan.
Yeah, only because I like how the nuts give it a different twist. The chicken is nicely flavored as well. But then the noodles themselves, you can just have the noodles and it's still okay. You don't feel like you're cheated out.
I'm not sure. I mean, like on the one hand, I'm thinking squid ink, pasta, maybe ramen, but then no, not really. I think, I think just for the heck of it, then I'll say Mamun Look Chicken Mami. I will go back to like for Mamun Look Chicken Mami with the siopaw sauce in the soup. Only because that memory of that dish is so sacred in my head that I know that. And then it's so hard to get to Mamandok, and we're probably never going to do it again. Then okay, then that memory is safe.
Ooh, Mitch has a good answer. Fuck.
I thought about that too, but then I think now like it's probably going to be a lot of rice.
The only reason I didn't choose that is because unless it's specific from that restaurant, I'm afraid to choose that. Because we have had some that wasn't.
We've had some weird pho.
Yeah.
So we only eat at pho, so. That was always good.
Eric asks, culturally, did you grow up with the tradition of needing to eat noodles on birthdays for a long life?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. And I kept that tradition up. Like every time it was my birthday, I'd have to have noodles until keto. So even if it was noodles I cooked myself. So.
I always broke it. I mean, they'd have noodles and all, then I'll cut it.
Well, I didn't like not cut the noodles. I would just eat it. I would. That's as far as the analogy
like
goes.
explaining, noodles for long, and then I'll be like cutting it and like, okay. Any last few?
Mitch is commemorating memorable quotes, MSG to the gods, and of course the sandwich of the bowl. Actually, the bowl industry.
Yes, it's the sandwich of the bowl industry. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
But it does in my head. And I guess that's all the time we have for this episode. We had a lot of fun, and we hope you'll join us again next time.
If you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, even if it's about food I can't eat anymore, feel free to submit them at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. Thanks again to Mitch for always trying to throw in new ideas. I feel like every time you watch a K-drama and you get inspired, I will see you here throwing an idea at us because and guys, you don't appreciate Mitch's idea contributions because they're paragraphs. They're like multiple sentences of like
and
it's like this. It's like very specific
to explain.
To explain where she's coming from and where what you want to do.
Mhm.
And then feel free to follow us on Twitter, Toby No Shade, RG Sunico.
You can also check out our blog, baduypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Then feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below. Andre points out we didn't really talk about instant noodles. There's not much to talk about.
They're instant. They're noodles.
Yeah, it's like it's okay. It keeps you full, but it doesn't leave you satisfied.
I guess just to add instant noodles somewhat in the episode, I would not be against that tour where you make your own.
Oh, at the ramen factory, you make your own cup noodle.
Even if we won't eat it, just to go through that experience and then make our
I
own.
would do that and go to like the Nissan factory and make my own ramen.
But beyond that
cup thing,
even that, but the Nissan even has its own model now.
Yeah.
Those never mind.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there, that's it. We added it in the episode.
It's the an instant edition about instant noodles. And of course, be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy Pride. Thanks for joining the later episode. We came from the grocery, like we said.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.